Hi everybody, I have a fall project to share with you today. We are going to be watercoloring pumpkins. We're going to be doing a wet on wet watercoloring technique, and to begin with I need to mix my watercolors, which are these concentrated Stockmar watercolors. Now most of the supplies I'm using today are from achildsdream.com, and you can check the description box below for more information. So I'm going to begin by making this quite concentrated because there's not a lot of water in there, but I will be adding more water to all of these jars. However, I am going to be using a more concentrated color palette today, and this is what it looks like when all of those colors are mixed and ready to go. The first thing I want to do is wet our paper. Now for this demonstration, I am using 90-pound Fabriano watercolor paper. This is not typically used in a Waldorf school. Usually the papers are larger and thicker, but I'm just going to demonstrate for my kids what we're going to be doing for this project. And to begin with, we are going to be just using yellow in the center of this page, and we're using a very wide brush, and we're making it very wet. Now the colors are quite concentrated, but you could go lighter if you wanted to. And this would be a good opportunity to talk about the sun and just a story about the sun, since we just started out with yellow. And then I'm going to be adding some red and diluting it just a little bit because we want to start to form our pumpkin using the red, which will mix with the yellow and form a really nice orange. And then this will be a good opportunity to continue your story and maybe talk about the pumpkin seedling. You could get creative and talk about any story that you want. Kids are really interested in just about any story that you tell them. If you're finding that the red is not turning enough into orange, you can add more water or more yellow on top of it. Then we want to move on to the leaf, and we're just going to be using the blue, and I did dilute this a little bit more because my original concentration for watercolors was quite strong. Now what I didn't do before starting this project was just take a look at a picture of a pumpkin and check what the leaves are supposed to look like, and these are definitely not pumpkin leaves, so you might want to consider checking out what you're actually trying to draw. It's okay that these drawings are quite vague. When you're doing a watercolor, it does tend to be like that, but it's probably a good idea to be a little bit more accurate. Now to make the stem, I am just using a little bit of blue along with that red that I had diluted. That water jar that's directly in front of the watercolor paper is actually just my water jar. There wasn't any watercolor mixed in there, and so I just used that to clean off my brush, and that was just enough for the stem. So now my kids are going to work on their project, and to begin with they're also using a small piece of watercolor paper, but once they're done with this project they will move on to a larger piece of watercolor paper that's quite thick and that will hold up a lot better to the wet on wet watercoloring technique. This was a really great project to see the colors blend together since we only used yellow, red, and blue. So it's a nice way to reintroduce some of those introductory lessons that you do in a Waldorf kindergarten or first grade, especially if older kids are participating in this project. Don't forget that you can see our projects almost daily on Instagram.